It's another episode of the Backstage Experience, and we are so excited about this episode because we have a very special guest. You know David Johnson. David, say hi.
Hello.
John Stenval is here. Say hi.
Hey, everyone.
But my goodness, a friend of mine that I've known for quite some time. I remember, I think we met like at a luncheon. It may have even been in Dallas, Texas when I was at Kiss FM radio and he came in to visit us and we were all excited. But I've known him for a long time. A lot of people call him the honorary mayor of Houston, Texas. I'm going to get you to answer that question, by the way, in a couple of minutes. But everybody calls him Bun B. And it truly is an honor for me to be here and to talk with you. Bun, thanks for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm really happy to be here.
All right. So we know your music. We know your activism. You do it all. But something that I didn't discover until a few years ago was your love for motion pictures and movies. You love the experience of the theater. How did that love start for you? Were you a kid? And like my mom introduced me to movies. I remember sitting with her on the couch and watching movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like she's the one that really instilled old movies like The Birds that I remember watching that with my mom. But tell me how it all started for you.
Well, I mean, for me, my very young years, I used to go to movies with my older brothers. There used to be a drive-in theater in Houston on the north side off of Homestead. And my brothers used to take me there for a long time. And then after my parents divorced, we moved to a different city. But I ended up having a movie theater like 2 blocks away from the house. So that would be my little way of escaping from a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So on Saturday and Sundays, and it was a dollar movie too. So I would just go up there and I would spend all day on the weekends. I remember when the Goonies came out, I sat there and watched the Goonies 8 times. I watched it 4 times on Saturday and 4 times on Sunday. And that would be my little world to escape in with movies, As I got older, I got more curious about like the process of filmmaking, So I started to watch more documentaries. Back when like Laserdiscs were first coming out, I used to watch like Criterion collections and listen to director commentaries and all of that. So I'm just learning more and more about films. And then when a lot of these independent films started to happen, that was intriguing because as I had educated myself, I started realizing like how much money it took to make a lot of films. But then here comes these new filmmakers who are making movies with no money. You know what I'm saying? So it was always something new and interesting to find out the more you study cinema. And I just got more and more into it, putting a lot of time into it, a lot of money into collecting movies and DVDs and stuff back in the day. And I'm just, a cinephile, I'm currently serving as a board member for the Houston Cinema Arts Society. So I help with a lot of the opening night presentations and interviews for our film festival every year. And man, I'm just all in. Like if I'm not working on music and stuff in my spare time, 9 times out of 10, I'm in front of a screen.
Have you ever thought about like actually producing a film or maybe even directing or putting something out like that? That's something I've never asked you.
I have, and I've acted in a couple of different independent films, nothing major. But no, I mean, it's always been intriguing. I think my entry point will probably be in like writing something and possibly like, being a producer of a film, that'll probably be my entry point. But I mean, once I get into that world, I mean, yeah, I'd be definitely open to telling some of the stories. There's some amazing stories, living right here in the city of Houston to be told, I think would make for very entertaining cinema and TV as well. So yeah, once I could get into that space, be recognized as legitimate in that space, I love to take that platform and use it to tell a lot of these untold stories.
Well, the reason I say that is because I was doing an interview recently with the cast of Mortal Kombat, and Mehcad Brooks, who is from Texas. There was another actor too from another movie, but I know it was Mehcad.
Paul Rachi from Sound of Metal.
Well, who's that, John?
Paul Rachi from Sound of Metal.
That's right. And also when I was doing the interviews for Bad Trip, and I was talking to Eric, Andre, and Little Rel. And I actually texted you because when I entered, and I've talked to Rel before, I've never met Eric, but when I identified myself and said Dave Morales, from Fox Houston, they just got so excited. Mehcad immediately goes, "Oh my gosh, do you know Bun B?" Eric Andre was giving shout outs to Beyonce. Beyonce always gets shout outs. She needs to make room for the rest of us, okay, in H-Town
Right.
that are from the city. Beyonce's had her. No, I love her. But these do, obviously Megan Thee Stallion, all these people. And then Eric and Rel go Bun B. And let me tell you how that makes me feel as a friend of yours, because I said, hold up. And I know I texted you right after the interview, Bun. I said to the guys, I said, hey, this is going to sound really, you won't maybe believe me, but Bun B is actually a very good friend of mine. And they just were starstruck that I knew you. And that was a connection. and so, Bun, you're one of the humblest guys that I know. You really are. But I see you and in the future, obviously, and I'm glad you told me what you just did, because I see you moving into that. You have so many stories. I'm from Houston as well, and I've got stories. Right. But you've lived so much of what's put Houston on the map musically. I mean, when TMZ talks about you, whenever there's something musically related or a story, Bun B is mentioned there, and I just think that's cool, because you have worked your entire life for that. You definitely have stories, is my point. And I for one, would love to see you write that and put that out.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it would be cool as a little H-Town anthology series, right? Where every episode is a different city, different perspective of the city. Because you have all these different neighborhoods, right? 5th Ward, 4th Ward, 3rd Ward, Acres Homes, South Acres, South Park, you know what I'm saying? A-Leaf, Southwest Houston, all of these different neighborhoods and different communities of people within those neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Bel Air goes from a very white, affluent neighborhood all the way down to a very working class Asian community, you know what I'm saying? And everything in between. There's all these different interesting stories. I feel like if, guys like, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover could tell those stories about Atlanta and show how diverse city of Atlanta is, I think we could do the same thing about Houston. I mean, obviously I wouldn't call it Houston, right? But I do think that, Houston is an incredibly diverse city with people from all walks of life. There's over 100 different languages spoken in the city of Houston. I think there's just a multitude of stories to tell. I wouldn't mind telling them, from my viewpoint, my perspective. That'd be cool too.
And I got to rep my neighborhood, North Side, because that's where I'm from. I'm the North Side, man. But you realize that Rel and Eric are going to hit us up now for well, I'm part of it, but they're going to hit you up for a role now. They're going to say I want to be in that movie. What's that?
I'm with it. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. All right. Speaking of making it happen, here's how this is going to work. We're going to go around the room. We're going to break down the big categories, and everybody's going to give their picks. We're going to start with the big category, Best Picture. I think the film that's had a ton of momentum, I think the director of this film is going to win, Chloe Zhao. Nomadland has won. I'm a voting member of the Critics' Choice Awards. It won at our award show, Golden Globes. But that being said, at the SAG Awards, which are voted on behalf, fellow actors and actresses, Trial of the Chicago 7, that movie was struggling in the other award show. I know Netflix really wants an Oscar. Did win at the SAG Awards. Bun B, tell me your pick for Best Picture and why.
My pick is actually Mank. I think Mank is a film that could potentially upset. And the reason I say Mank is because Hollywood loves to celebrate Hollywood. And Mank is a perfect example of that. It's the golden era of Hollywood. It's black and white, very, a lot of portrait shots, a lot of beautiful close-up framing shots, celebrating Mankiewicz and the writing of Citizen Kane, the whole dynamic between him, Orson Welles, gosh, I'm drawing a blank now, but
you're right. Hollywood
the guy that
celebrates
owns the newspaper. I can't think
Hollywood.
of him right
now.
Yeah.
Hearst. Sorry. With Hearst and the affair and everything like that. So I think it's just one of those movies that Hollywood loves to celebrate. They'll nominate it for everything. It probably won't win this, but it'll probably win Best Costume Design and some of those different things like that. But this is definitely one of those films that if any film could be in direct competition, I would say Mank would be an upsetter. But this is so hard to pick now that there's 8, 9 films for Best Picture. It used to just be 5. And while I love the fact that they diversify the category by putting this many people there, just makes it harder for you to pick something. But I mean, so you gauge by, the upcoming awards, right? You gauge by Golden Globes and SAGs and Screenwriters Guild and all that kind of stuff, right?
John Stenval, tell me what your pick is and why for Best Picture. John is a harsher critic than I'm actually. People make fun of me. They're like Dave Morales likes everything. So, but John is a little bit harsher than I am. But I'm curious to hear your answer.
I mean, I know Nomadland has all the momentum going for it, and Bun B has a great point with Mank. Hollywood does like to celebrate itself. The one that I enjoyed the most, and the thing about me when I like to vote or put my decision out there, it's what like affected me most or movies that I enjoyed. So like I really enjoyed The Sound of Metal because I have a very personal connection with that, with my mom being deaf. But what one I really enjoyed was Judas and the Black Messiah. Like I just really enjoyed Daniel and Lakeith's performances in that. And when we get to talking about Best Supporting Actor in a little bit, I'm going to have some questions for y'all when it comes down to some of the selection for that. So I would like to see Judas and the Black Messiah. I know all the momentum's going for Nomadland, but I always root for the underdog. So that's my decision.
David Johnson, what's that?
Can I just say something about that? Here's my thing. I feel like Judas and the Black Messiah is akin to Shaka King what the Oakland murder of Oscar with Ryan Coogler's first film.
Mm-hmm.
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station.
Yeah. So, and I feel like Chaka's going to take everything that he's learned from this and put into this, and I think the best is yet to come. So while I think it's amazing that he's acknowledged, I think we're just going to have to sit back and wait to potentially see where he goes from here. You know, because it's going to be interesting to see, starting with that kind of subject matter, where do you go from here? Right? He's not going to make a Marvel film, right? Kind of a thing.
You never know. People are doing strange things now, and I'm not saying that that's strange, but people across the river.
I'm comparing him to Ryan Coogler, and look what Ryan Coogler did. Made a Marvel.
That's why I said that. That's why I was like, look at what Ryan Coogler is doing. David Johnson, your pick for Best Picture and why?
I'm glad you said that, Bun. I was thinking that as soon as John said Judas and the Black Messiah. I wanted to win, but it's definitely the foundation for Shaka to then go up and see what he can do. Because a lot of people, if you look back on Fruitvale Station, that is an amazing movie, but one that wasn't really celebrated as much as it is now. And it's going to be a look back movie. You mentioned it earlier, Bun, and I do believe that Mank started with a lot of nominations and it's been quiet. And I really think that it's a really good possibility that that's going to win. I just personally hope that I don't want another movie like La La Land where Hollywood's kind of just up in arms about itself, which I guarantee, that's how it is. But I am fully on Nomadland's train for now. Here's a depiction of like the American Midwest, because you haven't really gotten that in the last few years. And so I'm assuming that the push behind that is going to be a little bit stronger than the push behind the infatuation with like Hollywood. So my boat right now is with Nomadland.
Francis McDormand too. Oh my gosh.
My thing is that, if you look at the producers, the Best Picture is about the producer, right? It's not about the director, right? And so Mank is the one that has like Eric Roth as a producer, right?
Yeah.
So out of all of these films that are nominated, he's the most high profile producer, right? So he's the one that's doing more of the Hollywood schmoozing, I guess.
Playing the game. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think what he's going to do is a bit of a trade-off, right? He's going to be like, okay, I know you can't give me this, so give me best costume design, right? Give me best sound design, something like that,
Well, there's a reason that it leads in nominations. So now Sunday is going to be just so fascinating to watch based on what you guys are talking about, because honestly, now I'm like, wow, you know what? There is a reason. So we'll see. All right, moving on to Best Actress. Carey Mulligan has been winning. She won at my group's award show, even though I didn't vote for Carey Mulligan. I voted for Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday. Given the fact that Andra sang, this was her first role, she thought her director, Lee Daniels, was going to fire her like every day. She told me that in the interview. She's like, I showed up. She's like, I thought I was going to get fired every day. Bun B, who do you, and don't forget Viola Davis also is in this category. Your thoughts on Best Actress?
Well, when you and I have talked about this, Dave, obviously Andra Day is the front runner for it. She's an amazing singer. We're finding out now that she's also an amazing actress. It's a really one-two punch. And the story is very original, right? Very few people really know much about Billie Holiday, right? So it turns into a very intriguing story. You get very drawn in very quickly with this. But I'm upset that Rosamund Pike is nominated for I Care a Lot. I feel like that was one of the best performances by an actress in the past year. To me, like that was the one for sure that I knew would end up here. She's been here before with Gone Girl, so it's not far fetched to see her. She's an Oscar darling, so to speak. So I was very, very, concerned that she didn't make it. I mean, but look what she's up against: Viola Davis and Ma Rainey, Carey Mulligan, a promising young woman, which in any other year would be a shoo-in, right? I feel, but I mean, Frances McDormand in Nomadland, man. Once you constantly watch her reinvent herself on film over and over and over again. And it's really beautiful to watch and behold. And I mean, but Chloe just made an amazingly beautiful film, right?
Right. I just rewatched Fargo. It was on like HBO the other day, and I caught it halfway through. And I just was, again, it took me back, like you said, Frances McDormand, she can just own. I would love to get in her head and ask her the question, how she picks projects, how she knows are, right for her. John, who do you pick for Best Actress?
I want Viola Davis for Ma Rainey. Sorry, Frances McDormand. I mean, she won recently, for 3 Billboards, and I just want to see it mixed up a little bit. I want to see Viola Davis win. I think Andra Day would be awesome. I think it would be great because she is, like Bun B was saying, she's showing both sides, the acting side and the singing side. But I think she is just getting started in her career, and I think she's gonna have a long career in Hollywood. So I'd like to see Viola Davis win. I'm a big Viola Davis fan, so that's my personal.
David Johnson, your pick for Best Actress and why?
I'm right on there with John. To me, it's great if either Andra Day or Viola Davis wins. But after I had to go back and rewatch Ma Rainey, and Viola Davis in that film is just a force. And it's wild and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's wild when you watch the scenes between her and Chadwick. And it's just like there's just this aura and this chemistry between both of them that it's just absolutely amazing. So I would believe, and Bun said it earlier, in any other year, Carey Mulligan would almost be a runaway. But the fact that she's in this year with so much stacked competition, it's kind of unfortunate, but it's also, I'm on Viola Davis' team.
Don't you love how there's like really no front runner? The Oscars, this is the way the Oscars should always be, that it's just so spread out that there's not one particular film that's kind of dominated, even though Nomadland, like we said earlier, has had the momentum. I love the fact that it has been spread around. All right, in the time that we have left for this, we'll talk about Best Actor now, because I think it's an important category. Of course, Chadwick Boseman has been winning, and rightfully so. Haters are going to say it's a sympathy vote, but let me tell you right now, you see this performance, and I've had the opportunity to sit across from Chadwick in person. Genuine guy. I 21 Bridges, he was sick, we didn't know, and there's video of me sitting in the room with him. My mother, he did the Wakanda Forever sign in front of my mom. Great guy, miss him tremendously. Bun B, tell me, Chadwick Boseman, do you think he'll win Best Actor?
I do. And while we can't count out there being some level of sympathy, if you've seen this film, right, this is a film that puts acting up front, right? This is just like Fences, this is not about movie video tricks. There's very long takes, actors get to actually act in this film. And there are scenes in this movie where you watch Chadwick act, and obviously there's a different level of poignancy that we're seeing this after he's passing, but make no mistake about it. This is top-notch, grade A, world-class acting by Chadwick. And look, I'm a big Gary Oldman fan, right? From True Romance all the way up. I've been a big Gary Oldman fan for a long time. To me, he can really do no wrong. And Riz Ahmed, he just had a really crazy year, right? Over the past 18 months, he's had 3 amazing top-notch performances. And Steven Yeun, not only having this great year with Minari, he's got this new role as a cartoon on Amazon called Invincible, which if you're a cartoon person or a superhero or it's a must watch. Somebody talked me into it. I couldn't believe I hadn't been watching it. But I think it's Chadwick. I think it's Chadwick all the way, and rightfully so.
And John and David, you both agree with that? John?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think he was actually overdue. I thought he should at least been higher up for Marshall, but I know his performance was incredible. Some people complained about the depth of the character for that one. I absolutely think Chadwick should win. I thought it was interesting, going over back to Judas and the Black Messiah real quick, that Daniel Kaluuya was included as a best supporting actor in with Lakeith Stanfield. So they have both of them put as supporting and nobody being a lead actor, which I thought was interesting. Warner Brothers did. But I think it's because they know that Chadwick is probably just going to take this home.
And I thought for sure, this is how the award season changes throughout the campaigns. Leslie Odom Jr., I even said this on TV a couple of months ago. I said, put it on your Oscar card now. He's going to win Best Supporting Actor. But, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah has been winning everything. All right. In the time that we have left.
Can I say something before we go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe there was a conscious decision by the filmmakers and actors from Judas and the Black Messiah to not cast another Black actor against Chadwick in Best Actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing what they know now. Yeah.
Right.
Knowing what they.
Just keep in mind, Ryan's a producer of this film as well.
Yeah.
The shock.
You're right.
I think they purposely left Black actors out of that category to give Chadwick a better chance of winning.
I picked Chadwick only because
Daniel
Five Bloods is not nominated. I would have picked Delroy 1000%.
Dude, I agree.
I would have picked Delroy Lindo.
Five Bloods.
Because
You talk about a movie that got that to me is, I could not believe that the Oscars didn't nominate. I love to talk with Spike and get his thoughts about. Of course, he'd just scream and yell, but no, I did a press conference with him, and the momentum was there. But that's a great film. Yeah, it's just interesting. All right, we got to get to this, man, and this is one of my favorite categories, being a former radio guy, and obviously the music, Bun B. But for best song, can we agree that "Speak Now," One Night in Miami, is going to win?
Yeah.
And look, "Fight for You" is no joke. "Fight for You" is an amazing song, But "Speak Now," I mean, Leslie Odom Jr., who has a very good chance of winning Best Supporting Actor, right? If you watch One Night in Miami, he's kind of the star of the show.
Yeah.
He's the one that draws the most emotion from you in any way, right? The laughter, the drama, all of these different things all wrapped up in one. But I mean, look, this is Mr. Broadway here. This is Mr. Song, right?
I hope
I nailed it.
It has to happen, because I've spoken with Common, who's a mutual friend of ours, and he knows me from my radio days. And I asked him about Oscar night one time when he won, and I said, "What was it like to be on the?" And the way it gives me chills just thinking about it right now. But it's just a special thing. So I hope that wins, and I think it's going to win. Glad we agree on that. And by the way, another friend of mine, Regina King, I've known her since Poetic Justice days. I really wanted to win. I wanted her to get Best Director, because I really love that film, but I don't know if it's going to happen this time. I know Regina is so talented. She will be back, and she's going to have something special. Did I just date myself, by the way, when I mentioned Poetic Justice?
Just a little bit.
I'll tell you what. What did he say?
He said
a little bit. I've been very careful, but I mean, I brought up the Goonies earlier, so I don't know who's dating.
Well, and that's actually, and I'll tell you right now, that's the last time that I saw Tupac Shakur, who I knew from my Bay Area days. We were at the Four Seasons when we were together talking Poetic Justice, and that's for another podcast we'll talk about. All right, listen.
He knows everybody.
Dude, we'll have to swap stories on that one. Tupac was something special. Bun B, you're something special. And I can't thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy to visit with us. I love to get your perspective. I love to pick your brain. This is something that you and I did in the newsroom at Fox 26. And now we're recording, actually putting it out there, just casual conversation coming to life. And your perspective too about, the writing and the stories and how you represent Houston for us. You're just an amazing guy. All right. So I'm just going to ask, down the road, Mayor.
I'm going to answer this as politically as I can. While I currently have no plans to run for mayor, we have talked about it. We have considered an exploratory committee, and we are looking at the possibility.
I got you. Whatever you need from us. I'm not just a friend.
This your vote and your support,
dude.
Man.
Whatever let me just tell you.
Make that decision,
dude. Well, whatever. But thanks for saying what you did. You didn't have to say that. But I'm going to make a great communications director. See how what I did right there? Everybody? All right. Closing thoughts. The Oscars are going to be fun to watch. You've heard our picks. Bud B, take us home. And again, thanks everybody for listening to the Backstage Experience. Tell your friends, tell your enemies about us, because this is just a great perspective. Your closing thoughts, real quick, on the Oscars Sunday night.
I think the film that's going to be talked about the most after this particular Oscar ceremony is going to be Another Round. Another Round is going to be this. I don't know if any of you have seen Another Round. It's the darkest, funniest thing. It's a film about a social experiment built around alcohol consumption. It's the perfect premise. And Mads Mikkelsen, right, the Swedish actor, who, I mean, I've never seen him more funny. I've never had more empathy for him as a character. It's an amazing film. And the director is up for Best Director as well. Thomas Vinterberg.
All right, man. We're going to leave it there. Again, thanks for listening. The Backstage Experience podcast. What a show. Be safe, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, guys.